G'day team, welcome back to our fifth episode of Veterans here in the Shed 2.0. My name's Scott. Today, look, we're going to talk about ESO'S, ex-service organisations. We're going to talk about some in particular, we're going to talk about some of their shortfalls, but also going to talk about some of the really good things that ESO'S do within the veteran community. I'm probably going to get lynched after this one. There's probably going to be a bit of hate mail coming, but that's life. Team, we're here to ask some big questions and talk about some big answers. So, first of all, let's have a talk about ESO'S. Now, when I was at the RSL, my time on the board there, one of the things that we were trying to do was restructure. And we were met with a fair bit of pushback and negativity. And we're going to get into that a little bit, and I'm going to give you a few stories about, and I would call them horror stories, about how some of the older veteran community treats some of the younger community. And that's only a very small percentage, I might add. All right. However, there is still a little bit of, I suppose, ownership that these older veterans take, and it's quite negative and destructive, not only to the organisation but to the veteran community. However, that being said, one of the things that was pointed out to us that there is now, last count, 5,000 ex-service organisations registered. That is absolutely mind-boggling, that there are 5,000 organisations out there professing to look after veterans or help veterans. However, we still have veterans committing suicide. We still have veterans on the street. We still have veterans having troubles. How is that possible with 5,000 ESO'S out there? Oh, look, if you've got an idea, put a post down below. You tell me why this is possible, why this happens, because fair income, it shouldn't be. If there are that many ex-service organisations out there, we should have this field covered. In conjunction with the Department of Veteran Affairs and the government, this should be actually not an issue, but it still is. So let's have a look at a few things here, team. And I would really put it out there now. Why are there so many? Oh, that's a big question. Well, I'll tell you why. And again, as I said, I'll get hate mail over this, and you put your comments down below. But the reason there are so many ex-service organisations is because the ones that were in position, okay, did not meet the needs of their clients or their customers. And they still fail to do so in a number of arenas. That's a pretty bold statement, I know, but hey, proof's in the pudding, isn't there? Right? We had what was supposed to be the premier veteran organisation, and yet all of these other organisations sprout up. Why? Because they are not meeting, these organisations are not meeting the requirements of their customer base. And that's the reality. Well, I look forward to the comments on that one, I'll tell you. Rightio team, let's have a talk about the RSL. Now, why I talk about the RSL here, it's not an RSL bashing session. I'll give you the tip because I actually have a great, deep respect for the RSL, and I was a member of it for 20 odd years. I was on the board. However, you know, it has failed to move with the times, and there lies a problem. Its organisational setup was based 100 years ago when clubs and community were so completely different. And it really needs to reassess how it does business. You've got other organisations out there like Soldier On, Mates for Mates and things like that, that do business differently. And they have a share of the marketplace, and rightly so, I might add. Okay? Now, that's not to say that the RSL doesn't have some really good things there, people. I've talked and often mentioned, RSL Defence Care, an outstanding organisation, horribly underfunded, and we'll get into what could be done about that. RSL Life Care for those older veterans in care. So, again, there's these things out there, team. So, what's happening on the ground? And I'm going to give you two stories about the younger ex-service community, all right, being engaged by RSL, all right, and over my time. And these two horror stories are literally that. The RSL has missed the marketplace because of its own biases. The 70s, 80s and 90s veterans of this country don't engage with the RSL because they were treated so poorly. I once asked a president of an RSL club, RSL sub-brand, "Oh, do you have many younger veterans?" "Oh, no. The door doesn't hit their ass as they go out." And I go, oh, why is that? Oh, they don't want to join in. Oh, what do you mean join in? Oh, well, we have our meeting and we have beers and some steak singers. What time's this? Oh, 10:30 in the morning. Like 10:30 in the morning, and you want a 21-year-old to start drinking? Now, I'm telling you now, when I used to drink, if I started drinking before 12 midday, I would grow horns and a tail. Who's ringing my wife to tell her husband's on it? Like, what I'm getting at here, team, is that sort of mentality is ridiculous. Oh, they need to conform to the way we do business. They need to conform to steak sandwiches and listen about sleep app machines. Well, the customer base that you want is not going to engage if you offer them nothing. Another great example of old style mentality. It was suggested to an RSL sub-branch on the coast that how about we get some surfboards, some surf skis, things like that, put them in the surf club or down at the yacht club, available for veterans. The comment was, the person laughed in their face and said, none of my veterans will be doing that, they're all too old. That's precisely the point. That is why you don't have the younger veterans there, because you do not provide what they are after. There was a simple suggestion. However, that is what it is. Again, appalling. That's their viewpoint. Now, honestly, as I said, the way the RSL has been doing business is like it was back when Moses was playing fullback for Jerusalem. It needs to change, needs to lose this membership base, because all you have now, okay, is groups of old grumpy people, okay, hoarding millions of dollars and of cash and assets, right? And that's my money, that's our money for that veteran. That's all you hear. It's absolute rubbish. Absolute. You can see that I am not impressed about it. I know for a fact that there are sub-branches that have like 15 to 20 members, all right, over 65, millions of dollars. And yet Defence Care cannot employ enough advocates to help veterans get their entitlements. Absolute joke. So enough of me ranting, enough of me being a bit uptight, team. I know I've probably gone in pretty hard there today. Don't get me wrong, as I said though. I'm not anti-RSL, because I'm telling you now, 90% of everyone in the RSL are outstanding, wonderful people. They want to do the right thing. They want to engage with the younger veterans. They're just having a really hard push to get around those old mentalities that are so crushing and so defensive about their empires. So let's have a look at a few things that out there that are good points. And I want to name 5 organisations that are out there that actually are doing some really great things for veterans. We've got Defence Care. Honestly, cannot speak highly enough about them. Every time I have had to engage with them and got a veteran on, it has been outstanding. Veteran Sports Australia. I was actually lucky enough to be a part of the inception of that right back in the early days with a fella called Darren. And it was called RSL Active back then. Look, getting veterans to events such as the Invictus Games, such as the Winter Sports Camps all around the world, plus in Australia, an outstanding mob. Soldier On. Well, Soldier On is out there. They do specific events, they provide support, another good organisation that has a part of the marketplace. Mates for Mates, that's a Queensland-based organisation. A good friend of mine is part of that and has done some great things in helping him and also other veterans. Hey, really good, and backed by the RSL, I might add. So as I said, I'm not anti-RSL here. The RSL in some arenas and in Victoria is some amazing stuff. Same in New South Wales. All right, and Red 6. Now, Red 6 is an interesting one. It's a veterans cause and a veteran organisation that I support strongly, okay, and it uses apps and things like that. Modern day things for modern day veterans, really important. So there's just 5 ex-service organisations straight off the top of my head that we've got time to talk about today. So what can we do to make things better, team? And as I said, I know I've been pretty harsh, out there, and I've probably, as I said, going to get a bit of hate mail over that, but that's life. At the end of the day, team, I suppose what we're looking at here is what can we do better? Now, in all fairness, the RSL, it's trying to get its style of doing business and looking after its customer base better. However, I still would say, bit of a toothless tiger. Hell, we all know and heard of Bruce Ruxton. Everyone knew about veteran issues back then, and he'd give it to everyone. He told them what he thought. Now, whether or not he was right or wrong, it brought the discussion out. And that's, again, what we want to do here. Now, as far as, look, the veteran community and that, just to give some facts, and look, up to 500 people have committed suicide. And yet we have organisations sitting on millions and millions of dollars and not getting into places like Defence Care, Veteran Sports Australia and all that, because it's their little empire and they want to hold on to their cash, or I don't want to work with them. And look, this is across the board. This is veteran politics. It's absolute rubbish. Team, we need to start working together. The premier organisation needs to start being the premier organisation that it once was. And I really mean that. To all those RSL members out there, you do an exceptional job. There is about 10% of your organisation that just doesn't. Is a greedy bunch of empire-building old people. Old boys club, if you will. And that's really, really sad. You know, there's been different stuff about different other organisations too. Look, again, let's cut the crap. Let's get on with it. Let's get on with helping veterans. Let's get on with encouraging the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010 veterans to engage. In closing, team, look, I want to make it very clear. This is my opinion based on experience. You know, I just one of those things that I think needs to be said, and it needs to be brought out in the public eye. There are some organisations out there that do exceptional work. There are RSL sub-branches in regional centres and in the city that do exceptional work. There is just a small portion of that organisation that wrecks it for everyone. Same with Soldier On, same with Mates for Mates. Outstanding organisations. Red Six, can't say enough about them. Defence Care, can't say enough about them. Veteran Sports Australia. Team, today we've covered ex-service organisations. We've talked about the RSL and some of its shortfalls. The reason we've done this is so you as veterans, you as the public, might have a bit better understanding and might ask the question, might start the conversation. Remember, team, 705 on Radio 2CC, Capital Radio Canberra, with Stephen Centipento every Friday morning at 7:05, and check out the YouTube channel. Make sure you share these videos, team. Get them out there. If there's anything that we can do to start the conversation, it's that. And make sure you leave a comment down below. And remember, I'm not here to be abused, but if you've got a different opinion, I don't mind. You let me know. This is Scott, signing off from the Shed 2.0.